Hi everyone. So today we're going to be talking about 10 different superstitions that I believe in and why I kind of don't mess with them. So all of these are things that kind of keep me connected to my roots and kind of the things that I grew up with. So these are like the different rules, the warnings and rituals, kind of all my tias, my nana, and kind of like neighbors also swore that weren't like non-negotiable things. So a lot of these come from like very old like folk traditions, specifically within Mexico. And a lot of these do also happen to have some Catholic ties, and some are just like kind of from experience or from family experience. So here are the 10 superstitions that I still believe in and why I don't mess with them. So the first is no shoes on your table. The reason why is because shoes being put on the table calls in bad fortune and sometimes can even call in death. Now, how I was taught is that it's just kind of also a little bit more of a respect thing. You don't put dirt on the table or the random diseases that you could have picked up onto your shoes. Also, your feet are a way for medicine and spell work to get into you, so you definitely don't want that transferring onto your table and onto the food that you eat. Because the table is, for family and for food, and not the dirt and bad medicine that is from outside of the world. And then the second one is spilling salt. So spilling salt is seen as a symbol of bad luck. And there is an easy cure. So how I was brought up is that you grab some with your left hand, specifically you grab the salt that you spilt and you throw it over both of your shoulders, and then the rest of that salt you sweep out of your home while praying certain prayers, which I'm not going to share on here because that's just a little too personal for me. So this is both, cleansing, but then also kind of, fighting back on misfortune. And then the third superstition is never gifting or handing someone scissors or knives. The reason why is because blades are sharp, blades are known to cut, and how I was brought up is blades can cut bonds in relationships. So handing or even gifting someone scissors can slice your connection and your relationship and sever you both. Pretty much leaving it so you're no longer friends or you cut ties with them. I've also heard from some of my elders that it's even a way to cut their lifeline. But if you actually must give them or gift them uh, knives or scissors, you tape a coin to it, so it's more of a purchase and it's not a curse on your relationship with them. And then the fourth superstition is never putting your wallet or purse on the floor or even on a table. So, like at a table at a restaurant or like your home table. The reason why is because this is all tied to money. So, money has energy. So, setting your wallet or your purse on the floor um, you're pretty much allowing your wealth and your money and your finances to walk away from you. And then pretty much I was taught to keep it in your lap or in your hand or on a chair, kind of like hang it on the chair or like just sit it on the chair next to you. Never on like where your feet go or where your food go. It's just kind of something I was always taught that brings kind of bad luck and makes your money go away. Um, and then the fifth thing is never whistling at night. And I know this is kind of a big thing and like something almost everyone knows about natives that we don't whistle at night. Because it can invite different wandering spirits, sometimes even bad spirits, or even people's ancestors or any other kind of spirits that they may work with or pray to that you may not want in your space to come around. So for me, someone who loves to whistle and I kind of like to whistle songs a lot. Um, and especially at night when I'm alone, I like to whistle sometimes, but to combat that so I don't do it, and also I like to sleep, so I like my energy and my peace while sleeping. So to combat that, I like to hum instead. Um, yeah. And then the sixth superstition is you can't cut your hair whenever you want. The reason is hair holds memory, it holds energy, it kind of holds on to your ancestors. Um, I was always taught you can only cut it on the full moon or after someone has passed on and your grieving period has ended with them. And then also after any kind of like traumatic thing that has happened or any type of like bad luck or cleansing that you've gone through. So like a limpia, a very deep limpia is when you would cut your hair. Because we were always taught that cutting your hair is pretty much like another it's like a small rebirth of your energy and yourself. And then the seventh superstition is owls being like an omen of death, but also as a Santa Muerte devotee, they are also a messenger of Santa Muerte. So, in many native communities and traditions, owls have long been seen as omens of death, or sometimes even watchers of night. So sometimes you'll hear like different stories and folklore from places like Mexico, calling them lechuzas. And specifically, they're kind of seen as like witches. And more often, people, when talking about lechuzas or like owls, and like witches associated with them, they're talking about the kind of people who do more bad medicine and are purposefully wanting to like haunt you or do bad medicine to you at night. But for me, as a Santa Muerte devotee, I have to kind of see them a little differently. So because they are messengers of her, whenever I'm praying to her, or I ask to see one, or she decides to bring one to me, there is a very specific kind of owl that is, for me, seen as a sign of her. And then if it's a different type of owl, then I know that it is, the death omen and something for me to pay attention to. And then the eighth superstition is keeping a red string around plants and crops. So this is something that was taught to me by my nana, so my grandmother, which you tie a red thread or a string around your plants to protect them from mal de ojo, so the evil eye, and also sun damage. It's kind of an old charm for healthy harvests, and it also kind of gives like the plants a cool little look. Um, but yeah, so the red is a very protective color. It's also a fiery color, so it kind of burns away any evil eye or bad thoughts or sayings or things wished upon your crops and your plants by other people, just to keep them healthy and alive. And then the ninth superstition is anyone kind of from Mexico will kind of know is Vaporu or Vicks Vapor Rub, kind of being one of the biggest healers for us. And so many families kind of treat Vicks like a miracle in a jar. And because I'm someone who both like science but also the spiritual side of things, and also I am doing classes for herbalism and things like that. I can tell you this is both part science and also kind of part placebo. So within Vaporu or Vapor Rub, Vicks Vapor Rub, It has menthol, eucalyptus, and camphor, which all of these together create a cooling vapors that kind of trick the brain into feeling clear and calm. And they can't cure a cold or heal any wounds, but they do soothe your senses and help you rest, which is healing in its own way. So, though it is part placebo, I do still believe in it, but I do use this very carefully and wisely. And then the final superstition that I believe in, so our 10th superstition, is safety pins and milagros for protection. Um, so what we were always taught, a safety pin with milagros on, for any person, you kind of hide it like either in your shirt or just somewhere tucked away. It keeps away mal de ojo, so the evil eye, and any bad medicine. But for pregnant people, for a safety pin with milagros, but also a red string wrapped around it. It for pregnant people, they will traditionally wear it by their womb. Um, especially under full moons or eclipses, to protect their baby from any bad spirits or envy, jealousy, mal de ojo, the evil eye. It's also said in some regions that it can protect the baby from having any birth defects after they're born. So it's just kind of like a old like folk traditions me like a simple like modern day material, which is something that's actually like pretty cool to me, but it's also something very humble and very powerful. um so yeah, so these are like the 10 superstitions that I follow and that I was also brought up with. I don't follow these out of like fear of anything, but I do follow them out of respect of like my cultural traditions and my family and ancestors and my community. They remind me that like every small act carries meaning. And yeah, so have you ever heard of any of these superstitions? Did you grow up with any of these? If not, tell me what superstitions you grew up with or which ones you still secretly believe in. Thank you for watching this video. I truly appreciate you all. Toa leo san chimioque te siavu, leo sapuenchimak. I'll see you next time.